Welcome to Rugby AM here on Free Sports, back again for another exciting show with this little scamp, Jamie Jones-Buchanan, Ryan Hall, Roosters bound, and Chief Executive of the 2021 World Cup, Jon Dutton. We're going in today. Got so much to talk about. Jonesy, what a week in Rugby League. Championship blew my mind yesterday. I went down to Featherstone Rovers, London Broncos, and I was blown away.
Yeah, the dual reg boys at Leeds are always talking about it. Some of them obviously have been playing at Fev. Big Ormond Roy played at York as well against Bradford this week, which was a really close game. Got the win as well. But it is, mate, it's building up for a massive finish, isn't it? And it's really important now that I and myself, with Ryan Hall, find ourselves in that bottom four, so we've got just as much avid interest in who finishes in that top four as well. Firstly,
Ollie, you're going to the Sydney Roosters. Congratulations, firstly, because it's not easy, especially at 30-year-old, to get a deal in the NRL. You've done phenomenally well, and it just shows your pedigree as a winger. I know clubs over the years have always wanted your signature, but you stuck loyal to the club. You've had a great dig at Leeds, but now it's an exciting new challenge at the Eastern Suburbs District, which is going to be exciting for you and your family.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Obviously, I've known for, it's been a bit of a long process, but yeah, that's probably why I'm not showing the, the emotion at the moment. But yeah, I am excited to get over there. It's my first chance, my first real chance. I've been able to look elsewhere rather than Leeds due to my contract and how successful we've been. So in previous years where maybe I've had a chance, I've still had some unfinished business at Leeds, but now I think I've achieved everything I can do at Leeds now, and it was time to look elsewhere. And obviously the Roosters wanted me, so it's quite easy to do. I want to be successful over there. I don't want to go for a holiday because that's who I am.
So what you're saying is they offered you the most money, all as simple as that. It's interesting when you say 30-year-old at 30 stone, it's a big achievement as well. It's massive, and I reckon it'll be massive over there. I'm confident. I don't think I'll get a Sydney Roosters. They've never been my second team. Everybody's got an NRL second team out there, but I'll certainly watch them a little bit more now. It's going to be good, and I think all will really settle in.
Jon, it's great to have you here. Thank you for coming along. Yeah. You're wearing your badge with pride there, your World Cup badge. Tell us what we can expect with the 2021 World Cup. It might seem a long way away, but it's not. No. And the work started almost after the final whistle of the 2017 World Cup in Australia.
Great to be here. So the work for me started in 2015. So it's going to be 6 years, providing I carry on doing what we're trying to achieve. The way I describe it best, Alex, is we've got to transcend the sport. So this isn't a rugby league project. This is a sport and entertainment project. And I think it's the single biggest project that the sport in the UK has attempted in its 123-year history. We have a start, a middle and an end, so we're not here forever. And we're just going to make sure that the sport benefits from every opportunity that we create.
It's really important as well because I've been doing a little bit of rugby league development plan around our area. And some of that I noticed was if people want to bid to be a part of the World Cup in 2021, it's got to go through the council, hasn't it? So the council's got to bid for the money, and then the club has got to prove to the council that they can provide. So it gets a holistic sort of local government sort of viewpoint as well, which is really important if we want to talk about legacy and infrastructure.
Yeah, we're running a competition and we've been blown away by the level of interest. We started in January, we had 40 towns and cities that stepped forward. And we've got to get the best deal for the sport. We're going to have some really tough decisions, but we've got to be different. We've got to be digital. If you think of the environment we live in 2018 and how people consume things differently, well, what's the world's going to look like in 2021? So we've got to be contemporary. We've got to attract a new audience. That's really, really important to us. And then hopefully we've got more people engaged with the sport thereafter that can come watch the Rhinos, come watch Wigan Warriors, or just enjoy rugby league.
Can you give us any markers now when the fans can expect to be able to buy tickets and get involved and start seeing some fan-facing content, that kind of stuff for the World Cup?
Yeah, a gradual build-up. What's important for us, we're going to run a ballot. So that's never happened before in rugby league. We're learning a lot from others. So someone that works with me, Stephen, just sent him out to San Francisco to observe the World Rugby Sevens, just get every idea. But in July 2020, just after the European Championships, the Football European Championships, final at Wembley, we'll go to ballot just after that. And then that will gradually give people about 18 months to get really excited excited. Know when the schedule is. All the teams haven't yet qualified, and we mustn't forget, the women's tournament is going to be fantastic. And the wheelchair. If you've never seen wheelchair rugby league, what a brilliant product.
Yeah, we've had it on rugby and we've played it as well. It's tough.
It's brutal. It's brutal.
Well, we know there's going to be record numbers of the women's game and the wheelchair rugby at the 2021 World Cup. So we went along this week to check out the Physical Disability Rugby League, which is a really important strand of our rugby league picture and community going forward. So we went for our first game down to Headingley Stadium to see Leeds take on Wakefield. Check this out. Headingley Stadium is the home of the Leeds Rhinos, and this year we've seen the birth of Women's Super League with the Leeds Rhinos female team, ladies team, getting to their first Challenge Cup final against Castleford Tigers. But today is rugby with a bit of a difference. It's the PDRL, Physical Disability Rugby League, and I'm here with Gary Everton, the Chief Exec of the Rhinos. And obviously there's a lot of change at the club at the moment, but this is a real positive for rugby league.
Absolutely, and I think when you see the passion and the commitment that these fellas put into the sport is marvellous. I don't think we could have ever envisaged seeing rugby league games played at the level that they are by people who have got disabilities. Enormous challenges, but as I say, they're full of enthusiasm, full of commitment, and full of skill as well.
This is debatable. Able-bodied is definitely debatable. Matt Wilson, Talk Sport star. How are you doing, mate? You're playing today, the PDRL team. Excited the Leeds shirt running out of Headingley?
Oh, mate, I've done it before. Absolutely brilliant. What a set of guys. I mean, you mentioned my ability, my skill are to be questioned. The ability and skill of these boys is not to be questioned, and proud to play with them. Yeah, genuinely am. I mean that as well. Guys that and girls that probably thought they'd never be able to play again, could never participate again, can. It's a unique game. You watch it. I mean, I've been on the end. You've probably seen it on social media. I got clattered against Warrington here. The hits are hard, but there's a game within a game. So if you're wearing red shorts and you can't get tackled, but you can still play, still create tries, still score tries. So it's brilliant.
He says he's a bit fat for a winger, but I've been told you're one of the stars of the show.
One of the stars of the show?
That's what I've been told. That's what I've been told. Are you looking forward to today's game?
Matt been lying to you again, has he? Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hurt my ribs in cast game, so I didn't get as many minutes as I'd like. So it's nice to hopefully get a few minutes on.
I think you might give the first team a game at the moment as well.
Yeah, I know. Well, I said once it got announced that Ryan Hall was leaving, I text God as I was like, "Get me fit. There's a shirt going."
We've lost Ryan Hall. We've got Chris Hall.
That's right, mate. Yeah.
Are you up for a spot up wing, mate? Are you putting your hand up for a shirt?
Yeah, I would have done back in the day, but obviously things are different for me now. But it's just great to be still playing. So there's an old mate of mine there, Jacko.
Jacko's here as well, mate. You've had a tough journey, but to get here, to be smiling, to be playing rugby, could you ever envisage that after some of the things you've been through?
I was told 6.5 years ago I'd never play rugby again, and I'm a firm believer now with this PDRL format that no one should ever tell you can't do something. I'm very passionate about that. Only you can stop yourself from doing anything. You should be able to do anything you want to do, and PDRL is just a credit to that. Joined pitch side as the game's just kicked off. The boys Leeds are kicking to Wakefield. The Craig Shepherd, foundation manager at Wakefield, and you've been one of the pioneers of the PDRL. Wakefield, one of the first clubs after Warrington to jump on board, but it's certainly going from strength to strength.
It is, yeah. We were the third club to set up, following Leeds Rhinos actually, just a few weeks after, and it's bigger than I expected it to be, if I'm completely honest. We didn't struggle to recruit players, and it's obviously a very niche sport. You don't just have to be physically disabled, but you have to want to play rugby as well. You've got to be mad to do that, haven't you? But no, it's been fantastic. All jokes aside, the players love it. There's some great stories in the background from all the different teams, and I think we've now got 8 teams coming up for next year.
Right, we're joined by Dan Roberts here pitchside after the Leeds Rhinos have defeated the Wakefield PDRL here at Headingley. Dan, a great day, great victory, and you managed to sneak over for a try as well, mate.
Yeah, you know, it was a bit lucky. I'd got out for a bit of a breather out hot wing and ball managed to come out, managed to squeeze into the corner, just managed to get me out at naked run at end of year. So
you probably never ever thought you'd have the opportunity to play rugby league, especially for the Rhinos, make it even more special.
Yeah, I stopped playing up at age 18, 19 and got into coaching, thought my playing days had sort of like well and truly gone. So when this come around, chance to get a pair of boots on again and get out there with a bit of a dream come true. Forgot how much body aches day after like, but you know, it's good to get back out there with a pair of boots on.
Yeah, it's a great experience because you get told like in your life that you can't play again, but then this concept comes out and you'll be able to play and you get to play at these fantastic stadiums, so yeah, it's a good atmosphere.
Yeah, it was great to score at Headingley, but Connor cancelled it out straight after, so in next set. But yeah, it's good to beat these lads because they did us down at their place, so it's really good to just get the one back and then on to next season and we'll try and get the double over them.
Right, we're joined by James here pitchside. James, a great win there against the Wakefield PDRL boys.
Oh, I'm absolutely chuffed with that. The lads performing and coming back from behind in the first half really just showed a bit of grit and how much we've come forward as a team.
And it doesn't sound like a local Leeds accent, that, mate. Is there a bit of Cumbrian in there?
No, yeah, mate, up from Cumbria.
Right.
I travel down to play. It's just pretty much the closest team to me. I'm actually from out near Whitehaven, so it's a bit of a trek down, but it's great to get involved with the lads and play down here. This kind of game really has brought rugby back.
John, we saw last week this 10 million war chest going to the grassroots game. That filled me with joy because all we've done all year is work with the NCL on a number of different projects. And for me, the NCL, not just the NCL, the grassroots game is the biggest opportunity we've got to grow our game. It's all good going into schools and putting balls in hands of kids, which is just as important. But realistically, those kids are already in that club. They already want to play rugby league, and that's half your battle.
Good news. So it's public funding. It's money that we've had to convince government to give the sport. It's an unprecedented amount of money into rugby league. The first thing we want to do is we want to double the fund. So we want to make it £20 million. So a pound buys a pound. By asking for leverage, definitely not red. Definitely not red or black. But we've got to make sure that the money works really hard. So if an applicant comes along, they've got a scheme, they've got to bring some match funding to the table so that pot grows. And the good news is it can only spent on community rugby league, nothing else. Can't be spent on wages, can't be spent on consultants' fees. It's got to go into community rugby league. So 2 pots, one are small grants, anyone can access it, really quick and easy. A couple of £1,000s to set up a new team in a club, a kit and equipment voucher, and then the big stuff, the transformational stuff. And if we look at the facility stuff, for new clubhouse, it might be a new artificial turf pitch. And what's important for us, and we want to try and spend all the money before the World Cup. So what's important when people say, what's the legacy? The legacy is that clubhouse, it's that new team that's been set up, it's tangible stuff, and it all will go into community rugby league.
Holly, you were that close to lifting World Cup in Australia. For what you've seen put into place, do you reckon you can lift that World Cup?
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, I think we were that far away, like you say, over there. That'd have been, it would have transformed the sport in England, certainly. Yeah, it's hard to talk about really because you know, we put that much effort in, you know, as players, and we live, you know, obviously pre the World Cup all through the year, concentrating about the World Cup. You know, Wayne was quite, you know, specialised in saying like you play for 2 teams, you play for your club teams at the moment, you play for England, and England's a massive. We're going on a journey this year, so there was a big build up, you know, throughout the year, and then we had an 8-week World Cup and. There was single mindset in that World Cup about winning it, and we all believed we were going to win it. So it's quite hard afterwards for us not to win it and just be that close to winning it. You know, it's quite hard mentally to take. But there's 4 years between that final and the next final, so hopefully we can get ourselves mentally prepared for this one.
We'll go now and meet Steve Hampson, the Wigan legend, and he takes us down a memory lane of his really special time. Steve Hampson's Memory Lane.
Hi, my name's Steve Hampson, former Wigan and Great Britain player. This is Memory Lane. In 1983, I signed for Wigan, and 84 we got to the Challenge Cup final. I didn't really know much about the final at the time, but I knew that it was a great occasion for all people and fans. But I was unlucky to sort of miss 84, 85, and then 88. But I got back in 89 when we played St Helens. That was my first ever Challenge Cup final. Great memories, very nerve-wracking because obviously I'd missed a few through broken bones. But to get to play in the 1989 one was absolutely brilliant. The team we had back then was listed with stars with Ellery Hanley, Andy Gregory. There was numerous superstars, Joe Lydon, the Iro brothers. It was absolutely brilliant. We never took it for granted that we would win everything like the way that we actually did. But we sort of really respected the teams that we played against because there were some great teams with some great players. In the tunnel I was very, very nervous. As people know that before every game I'm normally sick, physically sick before any game. It doesn't matter who I'm playing. But this day at Wembley I was in the tunnel and I started to walk up the tunnel and I got really, really nervous. And to be honest, I was nearly in tears because I was that emotional about the game itself and knowing that I was actually going to get my chance after missing 3 Wembleys. We were playing a great team that day. It was St Helens, our local rivals, and they brought in Michael O'Connor and Paul Vautin from Australia. These were 2 great players, both internationals at that time. One of the memories was Kevin Iro scoring an early try.
Taken well by Hampson. Hanley already in the game, very prominent. Oh, he's been missed. Here's a chance now. Kevin Iro, he's going for that line. Young Connolly, oh, he's in! Well, that was ranked for tackling.
And then probably one of the best tries I've ever seen at Wembley was the Ellery Hanley one. The guy's just unbelievable what he did and how he did it. He just sort of launched himself through the gap. I was on his left-hand side. I was waiting for a pass, but there's no way I knew that I wasn't going to get that ball off Ellery because he doesn't really pass that much anyway. It was 12-0 at half-time, and when we got into the changing rooms, Graham Lowe, our coach then, he just said, do what you've been doing. He said, you're going well, you don't have to change anything, just keep up the hard work. I think we was well ahead by about 21 points or something, and Joe Lydon made a break and I was on his outside and I thought, well, Joe can score this. But Joe being Joe, he sort of, he'd been there and done it on numerous occasions. He gave me the ball outside and I actually got a telling off really because we're not supposed to celebrate before we score the try, but I did because it was my first Wembley and it was my first ever Wembley try. And it was great because when I actually saw the picture in the paper the next day, I actually, because the ground that day was, well, there was, I think there was about 90,000 people. It was unbelievable. And people were actually sitting on the racetrack. And when I've actually looked at the picture of me scoring, I've got Phil Bramwell and Ernie Bowen on the picture with me. So that makes it quite special as well. I think one of the memories that sticks with me is going up for the trophy, which is it was very, very exciting for me because I was stood behind Ellery and I knew that once Ellery had got it, it'd go straight to me. And that was the case. I think I might have been a little bit superstitious really because I used to always walk out second behind Ellery and I made it a point of going up second for the trophy for that year. But yeah, it was great to get my hands on the Challenge Cup was unbelievable and I'll never forget it. Yeah, the homecoming was always great. I mean, I've been as a spectator for 3 of them and all the lads had had a few beers on the way back from London, which was absolutely fabulous. But to see the fans line out the streets was absolutely brilliant. And one of my fondest memories, well, it's not fond, but I remember the Iro brothers actually grabbing me by my ankles and hanging me upside down off the bus. But one thing that happened then was that my medal fell out my pocket. So after waiting 3 years to get hold of a medal, I've lost it in one foul swoop, but there's a young lady who was a Wigan fan actually picked it up and brought it back to me. So I think she was about 7 at the time, and I remember taking her to the Wigan shop that week and buying her a load of Wigan memorabilia of tracksuits and hats and things because she returned my medal. I'm Steve Hampson and that was Memory Lane.
Great to hear from Steve Hampson there about his time down at the Challenge Cup. Amazing to think he missed out on so many. He was just injured 3 times before, the week before the World Cup, before the Challenge Cup.
It happens in rugby league, professional sport, but that's what makes us tough people, isn't it? That resolve to get over that. And he coached us actually in 2007. He was part of the last Great Britain.
What about his winners' medals? He's got...
Yeah, wonderful.
The
presentation.
Yeah, and no losers' medals. None.
I've got loads of them. He's got to have a loser's medal.
He has not got one, mate. He ain't got one.
Everybody's got
He ain't got one loser's medal. He ain't got one. All winners' medals.
I put my losers' medals in with the winners because they're just as important.
In 88 or 87, whenever he didn't play and lost. So he's never had a loser's medal. He's always got winners' medals. Unbelievable.
John, I really liked a few minutes ago how you diverted all the pressure onto the playing staff to make sure that if this World Cup's a success, it's all down to these guys here. It's not my job. But how intertwined are you with the performance department? Is it a role that you've got to have some sort of synergy with?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we want to give the athletes a great experience, and we want them to perform at the best. So I've been working with Kev very closely. Kev's one of our ambassadors, and being involved not in the plans, but we will advise, they will advise us. At the end of the day, we've got to run the tournament. Got to run the tournament. We've got to get something like 750,000 people into the stadia. And in 21, we're not up against anyone else. Our big mega sporting event in the UK will be surrounded by Premier League football and all sorts of, the business as usual, week to week. But that will stand out, and we've got the BBC on board that will cover everything. So that will give us incredible profile and visibility. And the viewing numbers from the World Cup final, 2 million people got out of bed in the UK at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning to watch England play. That is quite staggering. And if we can transfer that with all of the games all the way through, I think what we all felt in 2013, the BBC's coverage was excellent, but they didn't cover everything. So we lost momentum from getting national cut through. In 21, that's all gone. BBC covered the whole lot.
Check out this fantastic World Cup promo featuring James Simpson, England's wheelchair rugby league player. We'll see you for more Rugby AM in part 2, right here, Free Sports. Keep it locked.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I start by saying it's a real pleasure to host you here and to welcome you all to the Mansion House. So I am absolutely delighted not only that we will be hosting the Rugby League World Cup in 2021, but also that there will be this marvellous legacy programme allowing this fantastic event to continue to give back to our communities.
The International Development Programme is so important to the legacy of the Rugby League World Cup in 2021. And it's going to provide so many opportunities for people who've never seen Rugby League before, for people to come and experience playing our great game.
I'm James Simpson, a brother, a crawler, a giant, a driver, a swimmer, a fairground winner. I'm James Simpson, the chef, the sportsman, the army believer, a dog tag wearing military dreamer. I'm James Simpson, Lance Corporal in the 1st Battalion, the Yorkshire Regiment. It took hard work, dedication, determination, will, pride, family. Big guns, bullets, comrades, camouflage, luck. Afghanistan, 2009, a standard patrol. I triggered an IED. Now I'm James Simpson, double leg amputee. It's life changed, it's not life ended. That's the way I've been raised. Get up, get going, be strong. Push, scrap, stay positive. I fought for my life, I fought for my country, and I still am. Don't give in. No excuses. I'm not interested in fatigue. I'm James Simpson, England, Wheelchair Rugby League.